Hello, how are you? I'm sorry, there was problem to connect. Um, then my computer restarted, but let's go, right? Let's start. Okay, so do you remember the last class we're talking about very strange customs from all around the world, and we have also the thing that it's the etiquette. Etiquette is las reglas de etiqueta, right? Um, to be or to do some things in some countries, it's considered polite, it's considered impolite. It depends. Remember that well, we live in a very big world, and there are many things, many beliefs. Um, I mean, it could be if you go to different parts of the world, people tend to be more reserved, people tend to be more extrovert. If I'm honest with you, the most extrovert culture, if you compare any other countries, but the most extrovert is by far the Latino culture, and also Africans too. But everything that is Latinos, Central America, South America, uh, culturally speaking, they are the most open. Son las personas más extrovertidas. Um, we are is Latino people, people from Mexico, people from Colombia, Argentina, Brazil. Yeah, they are the most open. Now you go to other parts of the world. For example, you go to the UK, you go to Canada, and you will find people who are very introvert. They don't talk about it. They don't talk about personal stuff. They're very careful with what they speak. Son muy cuidadosos con lo que habla, por ejemplo, un extraño. And this is something that you need to consider when you do some small talk. Okay, so we're going to see another like cultural shock. Remember that we were talking about Japan, and Japan is one of those countries that we all is very exotic for us from Mexico. And within Japan, like an amazing country. Me myself, I would love to visit Japan more than China or Korea. But yeah, it's true that Japan it has one of the most strict social structures. So people tend to feel very restrained in this culture porque sus estructuras sociales son muy estrictas. You know, if I have, for example, well, the one thing about Japanese, what is that? Well, they are very hardworking, son muy trabajadores, son muy puntuales. Everything they do their best. It doesn't matter how small, how it's like what we saw in the video, right? Doesn't matter how small or big the business is, they always um, do their best. Es decir, hay una gran disciplina tanto para negocios pequeños como para negocios grandes. And you can see that, but on the other hand, it's so difficult to make friends, it's so difficult to talk about your problems, una cultura muy cerrada, en donde ni siquiera tus amigos les cuentas los problemas. And this is not something that I invented myself, but And people from Japan, you don't tend to tell them your problems, even if they are your friends. Um, so this is like very cultural thing. Now there is another thing here. There is another thing. We're going to read here. What do they think about phones? ¿Qué pasa en Japón con respecto al teléfono? ¿Qué normas hay que seguir? There is also something very interesting. Please, can you help me, Nubia, read these text?
All the text, teacher?
Yes, please.
Okay. Speaking on a cell phone in some public places in Japan is considered impolite. When receiving or making a cell phone call, most Japanese step away from the people around them. If that's impossible, it's customary to speak softly and use your hand to cover your mouth. Announcement Announcements on Japanese trains constantly remind passengers to switch their phones in silent mode. This is because people dislike being bothered by noise. Not everyone follows the rules, but most people do. The other day, people were mm, glaring at me for asking a call in a cafe, and one person even scolded, scolded me. I was pretty shocked, but then I thought about it. Listening to others talking on the phone is irritating. There is a good reason why Japanese people use polite behavior when speaking on cell phones.
Yeah. Okay, so did you know that it is impolite to make calls when you're in public places? When you are in the train, people don't want to hear you, and I've seen like many examples of people who have been scolded by Japanese, right? They get mad. Not only the phone, but in general noise, son muy sensibles con el ruido. If you have a little kids, tienes un hijo pequeño y el niño está haciendo ruido, and you're in the train in Japan, they will also treat you bad. Había un ejemplo, el señor se molestó y les gritaba. This is uh this is something very important to consider in Japan. So remember that in general the culture of Japan is not bothering each other. It's like they are so they are so special with this that they are like don't bother me, right? It's la cultura del no me molestes, right? And that's why they sometimes they don't get involved. I mean, there are a series of rules that they know how to follow. Tiene una serie de reglas sociales y todo lo que se salga de esa regla en Japón es algo pues muy incorrecto, ¿no? Que no sea un crimen, pero son muy respetuosos de su orden social. So, yes, you are not going to find people making calls in public, right? Or if you have to, si tienes que, vas a hablar tan bajito así como para no molestar. People don't want to hear you, you know? That's a very interesting thing. Well, so this is the same. For example, if you live in an apartment in Japan, si vives en un apartamento en Japón, bueno, pues también vas a tener que tener mucho cuidado con los ruidos. Obviamente eso siempre es así en cualquier lado. But in Japan, having screaming children, dragging furniture, playing music can be even more, you will need to be even more careful about it. So, que tener mucho cuidado. You know, sometimes we think about this and we say, oh, this is okay, right? This is cool. This is awesome, right? Like, no te molesto, tú no me molestas, respetamos un espacio público, it's good, very well. But you know, at the same time, there are some other things. Hay otras cosas que son muy estrictas del japonés. There are, uh, let me see, I will find it for you. It's called, se llaman hikomori. You know the hikomori? Have you ever heard about hikomori?
No, teacher, never.
No, hikomori are these young Japanese that put this put themselves in self-isolation. They never go out. Son japoneses usualmente jóvenes que nunca salen para nada. They don't shop. I mean, if they have to shop, they order online, as in las compras en línea, and it arrives to their home. And it's a self-isolation and confinement. They never socialize. They only they spend aquí, they spending most of the day and nearly every day confined to home. Todo el día, todos los días en casa. Avoidance of social situations and social relationships. Evitar situaciones sociales y relaciones. Social withdrawal symptoms causing significant functional impairment. Bueno, entonces que la misma, el mismo aislamiento les causa, pues, funcionar mucho menos en la sociedad. And duration of exceeding 6 months para que se considere que eres un hikomori. So you need to be at home at least 6 months sin salir de casa para nada. Yeah, I think we experimented something like that during the pandemic, right? With COVID. Now imagine this all your life. No apparent physical or mental ability to account for the social withdrawal symptoms. Ok, o sea que solamente es por pura elección. Yeah. Okay, so they it is very common, and there are okay, like about like almost 1 million Japanese that live with this. They are considered to have social phobia. Yeah, and this is something very common and now more common in Japan. Like all their life, they live it inside. Toda su vida es dentro y nunca sale. Never go to the exterior. So their lives are the internet. Everything they do is inside. Obviously, you know, what will be the consequences of that, right? That's why I told you, Japan has a very, así viven, ¿no? Japan has a beautiful culture, but it also is very strict for some, pero es muy estricta para algunos. So some people end up living like this. They never leave the room. And they live like this. What do you think?
That will scare me.
Yeah, it's very sad. And you know that Japan is one of the places where they commit more suicide. Like people can't. It's something that is so strict that you are either successful, okay, pero si no eres exitoso, o a lo mejor eres exitoso, pero you have the syndrome of burnout. Burnout es quemarse, es como hacer tanto esfuerzo, trabajar tanto que finalmente terminas fallando porque algo en tu mente o en tu cuerpo ya no puede aguantar. Eso es burnout. Okay, so yeah, we have these words that you wrote. So we have first scolded. Scold is regañar, right? Is what I told you. The man scolded her. Un hombre la regañó por hablar en el teléfono. Eh, so yes, they will tell you si estás haciendo algo incorrecto, si estás haciendo algo, si no te sabes comportar en la calle. Ah, bueno, entonces es muy probable que alguien, sobre todo de mayor edad, te regañe. They will scold you, right? Shocked, bueno, shocked, pues es como estar en estado de shock, ¿no? It was pretty shocked, estaba en shock. Behavior es comportamiento, behavior. And bothered es molestar, molestado. En este caso, this is because people dislike being bothered by noise. A estas personas les molesta que las molesten con el ruido. So, and I've heard many comments. Maybe it's not very, um, it's not good to say a generalization. No es bueno decir una generalización, pero many Japanese say they don't like living in Japan. Muchos japoneses dicen que no les gusta vivir en Japón. They prefer, for example, if they live in Mexico, they prefer living here in Mexico than going to Japan. When they go to Japan, they will have to behave according to the social rules. And also they say people, for example, Mexicans, alguna persona extranjera que está casada con un japonés y viven y viven en otro país que no es Japón, they say the spouses that when you go to Japan with your Japanese spouse, so they behave totally different. It's like it's not your husband, it's not your wife anymore. Y eso dicen también quienes extranjeros que están casados con japoneses y van a Japón, no sé, de vacaciones o para visitar a la familia. Y dicen que no los reconocen. I'm sorry. Okay, do you have any questions about this vocabulary in the text?
Disculpe, tengo dudas con la pronunciación border, border,
Bothered,
¿cómo?
bothered.
Border,
Yes, can you repeat bothered?
border.
Yeah. So the verb is like this, is bother, right? Now remember that all the verbs that end in ed, todos los verbos que terminan en ed, no decimos, por ejemplo, bothered, si dices así, no dices listened. Remember, this is not correct. You have to read just the D. O sea, vamos a decir no bothered, se dice bothered. Quito la última E. Listened, quito igual la última E. No digo listened. Yes, so you pronounce bothered. Bothered.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. You can say in English, it bothers me, me molesta, it bothers me. It bothers me when people make noise. In my case, I have to say I've lived in apartments and they are very inconsiderate. Son muy desconsiderados muchas veces los vecinos en los apartamentos con el ruido, right? They don't respect the rules. Incluso vives en una casa, los vecinos hacen fiestas y no respetan, ¿verdad? El descanso de otra persona. So on one hand, I'm like, yeah. Por una parte digo, sí, es de, well, you live in a happy culture, vives en una cultura muy feliz. Yes, you're like in a very happy place, and I've seen this, y sí he visto yo realmente que la de las culturas más felices, y feliz no se refiere, be happy. What I mean with be happy is like your attitude to life, la actitud que uno tiene hacia la vida y la alegría. And the people who are the happiest in the world, I would say they are the Latinos, Mexicans, everyone. I've seen how people behave in situations, he visto cómo la gente se comporta. Obviamente todos en otras culturas saben festejar, bailan, se divierten, ríen. But I think that when people come to Mexico, many foreigners come to Mexico, they're looking for that lifestyle that they somehow they want to be like us. Te vas a encontrar con muchas personas, muchos extranjeros que quieren ser como tú, que quieren ser latinos, que quieren ser alegres, bailarines. Y dices, pero a mí no, ni siquiera me gusta bailar, ¿no? No, pues soy un mal mexicano. But, we need to appreciate that about, y de hecho muchas veces se le ha calificado a México como el país más alegre, ¿no? Even though we have a lot of problems, aunque hay muchos problemas, pero bueno, we dance, we and we are always there for other people. We are very we help each other, nos ayudamos los unos a los otros, eso también es una cualidad. En Japón dejan que que te ahogues solo, ¿no? Pero bueno, this is like many of the qualities that we have as Latinos. Y así y me ha tocado varias personas decir, no, es que yo soy una latina por dentro, yo soy un latino por dentro, aunque haya nacido en Europa, y se creen latinos, ¿no? Quieren abrazar y quieren adoptar nuestra cultura. That's why there are so many Americans, and it's so gentrified. Está súper gentrificado ya el país. Y eso es una de las razones, because they like our culture. Okay, don't take me wrong, other cultures also know how to have fun. Other cultures are proud of their roots, quizá incluso más que los mexicanos. El nacionalismo no es, yo no he visto un nacionalismo en México como se ve en otros países. We are not very proud of our roots, I think that that's something we should do. Many people admire that, but yes, that's the thing when you compare other cultures. All right, so according to this, now let's analyze like let's analyze the most. Vamos a analizar la parte más gramatical de este texto, right? So the idea for today is making an outline. Outline es como una guía. okay, to organize your ideas before you write. An outline is usually written in reduced sentences or in notes and provides a general plan to follow when you write. An outline, you can have, for example, an outline que es un bosquejo, por ejemplo, cuando tú tienes que hablar en público, cuando tienes una presentación o también cuando vas a escribir. So, how is it going to work? Okay, well, you just need to write some key ideas. Todo este texto realmente se puede resumir en estas ideas que tenemos aquí. So, first, I have the topic sentence. This is the idea. Let's say this is the idea that the writer had in mind. Aquí están las ideas que el escritor tenía en mente y después escribió esto. But this is what is going to help you to write. So you need to consider first, before you start writing something, you need to have the ideas clear what you're going to write. So this is in order to write in a very ordered way. You're going to have some activities in the certification exam, or maybe you will need to write an email in English, or maybe you would like to write a long message to a friend. So you need to be able to know what to add and that your ideas are present there so the ideas are not disorganized. Entonces, eso es muy útil cuando quieras escribir algo porque como les comenté, vamos a tener más adelante, si ustedes lo desean, pues el examen de certificación y van a ver los ejercicios de writing, right? También escribir un email es algo muy común en los negocios. A lo mejor escribir un mensaje en LinkedIn, escribir un mensaje incluso de WhatsApp, quizá más largo con alguna persona. And, you need to be able to organize your ideas. And when you have complex ideas or important ideas that you don't want to be missed out, tienes ideas importantes que no quieres que se pierdan, no quieres que se malentiendan y quieres que queden claras. So it's very important to write in an orderly way. Tenemos que escribir de una forma ordenada. No es como tomar el celular y escribirle a nuestro amigo en WhatsApp. This needs to be very well thought. Necesitamos pensar bien cómo hacerlo. So first, I'm not going to start without my outline. Entonces todo empieza organizando en mi mente. So what do I need to think when I want to write anything? Yo quiero hablar de lo que sea, ya sea, aquí estamos enfocando lo escrito, pero esto también puede servir para hablar en público o una presentación. So you need to have at least 3 things in mind: the topic sentence, supporting sentences, and concluding sentence. Aquí estoy hablando no de un discurso larguísimo, sino estoy hablando de un texto que quiero que tenga orden porque tiene ideas importantes. Ok, so the topic sentence. The topic sentence es una oración, la primera oración de un párrafo, de un texto. Ese es el topic sentence. It contains the idea, this sense of what you're going to talk throughout the paragraph. Aquí tienes, speaking on a cell phone in some public places in Japan is impolite. Ok, esta es mi idea de la cual voy a desprender todo lo demás. So now you need to provide with ideas. Ya después viene todo lo demás, cómo vas a desarrollarlo, pero esa es la idea. Y fíjense que de hecho en el párrafo, así empezamos, ¿verdad? Speaking on a cell phone in some public places in Japan is considered impolite. Se considera grosero. Y algunas cosas cambian. Aquí agrego más palabras, pero la idea la escribí aquí. This yellow chart is my outline. This yellow chart, no, este yellow chart es donde yo vacío mis ideas. Tenerlo por escrito, esto me va a ayudar a organizar y escribir así. All right. No es recomendable nunca agarrar un texto y empezar a escribir así de la nada. No tiene sentido. Es decir, puedes llegar a escribir algo, pero no va a ser igual de ordenado. Okay, so this is the topic sentence. Esta es una oración que funciona como si fuera un título para el párrafo. All right. So that's how it works. So when you write, you need to include the principal idea. La idea principal debe de estar en la primera línea de tu párrafo. Okay. So in this case, we're talking about Japan. I can write a sentence. Quiero hablar de por qué México es una cultura feliz. Entonces, ¿cómo voy a escribir? Todavía no sé qué voy a escribir, pero voy a organizar mis ideas. Entonces, la idea principal, Mexico is one of the, or Mexico has one of the happiest people on the earth. México tiene a una de las poblaciones más felices de la Tierra. Ok, esa es mi idea principal de la que se va a desprender todo el párrafo. Now we have supporting sentences. Now, after that, you need to develop, right? You need to develop your idea. Tienes que desarrollar la idea. So, what are some of the recommendations? Well, you give here a recommended behavior. Ok, aquí, por ejemplo, speak softly. It's customary. Okay, so you see, what do they do in Japan? Use your hand to cover or okay, so this is step away, right? Cuando llames al teléfono, aléjate, habla muy bajito o habla muy bajito y cubre tu boca. Okay, so that's the recommendation. And now we have the examples. Un ejemplo. In the second example, personal example, ¿no? Un ejemplo general, algo que siempre sucede en Japón, que es que todos que deben tener su teléfono en silencio cuando el tren está dando un anuncio a los pasajeros. A personal example, la gente que se le quedaba viendo a ella por llamar en el tren. Okay, so you will write the same. And finally, a concluding sentence. There is a good reason why Japanese people use polite behavior when speaking on cell phones. Entonces, la primera idea está conectada con la última. Yeah, you have the first idea that is connected to this one. That is the concluding sentence. There is a good reason why Japanese people use polite behavior. Entonces, en la idea de conclusión, estoy reforzando esto y digo por qué esto es algo bueno, esto es algo malo, esto es de esta forma. Okay, so now please, we're going to write. You can choose to talk about, I don't know, how it's people in the place where you live, cómo son las personas en el lugar donde vives. Puede ser tu pueblo, puede ser tu país, puede ser tu ciudad. Y si sabes también de otras culturas, también puedes escribir acerca de esa cultura. No sé, a lo mejor has viajado a otro país y ahí has notado algunas diferencias culturales. So you can write a short paragraph. You're going to tell me like kind of a cultural shock, un shock cultural o algo que es diferente en donde vives del resto. Okay, so please, can you help me? You could write it here, Nubia. I don't know where's your partner, but let's write here on the chat. Y vamos a iniciar, no vamos a escribir el texto, vamos solamente a hacer este outline. Entonces vamos a armar nuestra idea. No sé, por ejemplo, entonces, gente, no sé, where are you from, Nubia? ¿De dónde eres?
I'm from a town called Nopalucan in Puebla.
Ok, entonces tú puedes decir, la gente de este pueblo en Puebla, people from this town in Puebla are, no sé, pues si son alegres, son, puedes también mencionar que es algo malo si tú quieres, and that's your topic sentence. Y después aquí vas a organizar también supporting sentences, qué es lo que suelen hacer, ¿no? Un ejemplo general, un ejemplo personal, and finally, a concluding sentence. So we're going to make an outline, vamos a hacer un outline, una guía para posteriormente escribir este texto. So you can start writing.
Okay.
At the same time, I'm going to write about me. Yo, por ejemplo, ya puse mi topic sentence. People in Poland, que por ejemplo mi esposa es de Polonia. Entonces digo, las personas de Polonia son muy hospitalarias y amistosas a pesar de ser introvertidas al inicio. So this is my topic sentence. Ahora viene cómo voy a apoyar esa idea. So now you write your topic sentence and what are the supporting sentences. Hmm. Okay, very well. So, topic sentence. Men from the town of Nopalucan in Puebla have stranger traditions. Oh, let's see, supporting sentences. In carnival, men dress as women. Really? Wow. They dance with other men dressed with men clothes. People enjoy the carnival and prefer watch men dancers instead of women. Wow, that's very interesting. We just need the concluding sentence. As for me, I wrote, Polish people avoid conversations with strangers or smiling in public because they are careful not to bother one person. So, if you go in many parts of Europe, muchos lugares de Europa, sí, los domingos no hay nada abierto, no puedes ni siquiera comprar algo en una tiendita because everything is closed. But I like, it's very interesting what you wrote. So, now will be time for you to make, will be time for you to make a paragraph like this. Ya tenemos el outline, ya tenemos las ideas principales. So now we just have to make the paragraph.
Yes,
Okay,
teacher.
so it seems that your partner, Reina, is not coming back. So we will finish for now. Thank you for joining, Novia, and see you tomorrow.
Thank you, teacher. See you tomorrow.